Hi everyone, Alisha Merlo here with another countdown to GVAS Fall Summit 2020. And I am with somebody very special, the OG and a good old friend, but we are not old as you can tell, Terri Ross, who is practice consultant extraordinaire. And she is the real deal because she has worked on all sides of the aesthetic industry business, working on the side that I first met her in sales and sales management and leadership. She has worked and run multi-million-dollar practices herself, and now takes all that knowledge and experience and brings it to her clients. So Terri, it is personally a pleasure to be able to be with you here today.
Oh my God, Alisha, thank you so much. I mean, it's lovely to see your face. I'm so honored to be part of GVAS this year for 2020, despite what we're all facing. And I love the warm introduction and welcome. Thank you so very much. Again, I'm really excited for this opportunity and to share with what's going on.
Awesome. So before we dive into what you're going to be talking about during your presentation at the conference, now I'm sure there are many people who know you and probably fewer who don't. But for those who don't, can you share a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you love this amazing aesthetic space that we all get to play in?
Sure, God, thank you. You gave such an extraordinary introduction. Thank you again. Gosh, I've been in medicine my whole life, right? Starting from out of college. I went to medical school for a couple of years. I've been in formal medical sales, working for Fortune 500, starting at J&J. So that's my core background. That's my training. I got into aesthetics in 2007, where I met you. So I've been in aesthetics for about 13 years. Again, working for Fortune 500, launching cool sculpting in the US and Canada, working for Medicis as well. And then I got into the practice management side about a decade ago. And, been having the opportunity to have worked with some very, heavy hitters, some A players, as well as a lot of startups in the industry as well. Not to mention an opportunity to be a managing partner of a medical spa in Beverly Hills, where, to your point, I think what makes me a little bit unique is that it was an opportunity to not only work for Fortune 500, but to have the opportunity to work within practices and then scale these aesthetic practices to really get to see what are the pain points, like what are their gaps, and how can I help them in a consultant role elevate that.
And I think that's what gives you what I call street cred. Not only have you worked with side practices, but you've actually helped to run and oversee the practices themselves. And that's such a powerful insight, because when you don't have that, you're kind of a little bit, have probably some blind spots that you might not always be aware of. It might have taken you longer to learn. And I think that's such a valuable part of your experience. And I recall even when we no longer worked at the same company, which was Medicis that you mentioned, the company that I think brought so many amazing, talented people into this space that still have replicated throughout, and we can't leave because we all love it so much.
Right.
But we even had the opportunity to work and collaborate together after that when you were in practices. So I've also had the chance to see firsthand some of the magic that you can kind of help and grow businesses, either whether they're already kind of at their peak and they're ready to go to the next level, or they're kind of struggling and they need guidance and direction. So you do really offer a whole lot to offices, and not just the leadership. What I love is there's a lot of focus that you also have on the team and the staff too, and that they're integral part in the patient journey and the patient experience. So
thank you. 100%. Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about what you're going to be sharing at GVAS. Now, without giving it all away, because we want people to get it from watching your presentation, but if you're talking a little bit about the profitability of treatments in a practice. So let's unpack that a little bit and talk about what they're going to walk away from when they hear you speak and why it's important.
Now more than ever, it's always been the key question. I ask clients, what are your top 3 pain points? And certainly the number one question or answer, I should say, is always, I want to make more money. Well, we have to understand, how do we get to a revenue goal? And how do we get to productivity? How do we understand capacity? How do we understand what is possible based on your rooms and based on your services? And I don't think, as we all know, so I'm not speaking out of turn, most providers, most owners, most physicians don't go to business school, and they don't understand their business in the way that we do, coming from our background, right, in a corporate sector, leading teams, managing teams, being responsible for a goal, but then more importantly, understanding that, you know, the aesthetic space is still a business, right? That no one's in this to be a nonprofit, right, business. And so understanding, how do we compensate correctly? What services do we offer that, one, yield a high return on investment, but more importantly, a great patient outcome? So I'll talk about the profitability, but I always will talk about safety, right, and results first and foremost. I want to make that understood. And it's really the ability to understand and break that down. And we've been able, through our, you know, my company and our courses. So our staple is our sales training course. And within COVID, we've written an entire financial foundation. And my system is called Practice Foundational Elements, the PFE system, which is based on sales, finance, and operations. And if offices and practices can adopt these best practices, they have proven to scale businesses beyond 10x, if everyone is committed to doing the work. So I think the takeaway that people will understand is really how to go back and navigate through their finances, to say, let me understand, what services do I offer? What do I charge? How long does it take me? Am I making money or am I losing money? And I'll leave it at that. And from there, it tells a story.
And I think that's such an important piece to look at. It's kind of like the old phrase, you know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so it sounds like when those that are going to be attending your presentation at the conference, and those that have worked with you or will work with you, they'll understand that their business as a whole is an elephant that can bring so much joy and fun to the world, but it can also be overwhelming if you don't manage it correctly. So by taking those different pieces that contribute to the greater whole, they're going to have a much more kind of greater perspective and understanding of their business, and also the areas of opportunity, right? Where there might be things that they're not operating as effectively and efficiently on. And I love that you focus on sales training, because I know that, you know, that has been, as you talked about your history, such a forte. And I will just say, because I know you well, it's not about numbers at the sacrifice about experience and, to your point, safety and efficacy of results. But you have to have an understanding to know that to be able to make all things possible, you need to know where you're at, where you're headed, and where you need to be. So I love what you're going to be bringing to everybody that listens to you at GVAS. I think it's such a valuable discussion. And whether you've heard it before, it never hurts to hear things again, you know, because I always say I can attend a talk about the same topic over and over again, but I'll always get a fresh perspective because I'm at a different point in my journey of life or education or professional or personal development. So I'm very excited for you to be able to impart your wisdom to those that attend GVAS.
Thank you so much. And I think the finance piece too is sort of an unspoken, a little hush hush, that when you start to uncover what a profit and loss statement looks like, or, you know, how people are being compensated, and with the laws changing the aesthetic industry so often, this is an area where, if it's done appropriately within 30 minutes, people can make informed decisions that can significantly move the needle. And I think more importantly now than ever, when we're trying to make up for lost revenue, we're seeing less patients.
Right.
There's no better time than to get your arms around the importance of the financial health of your practice and where to make those changes.
Yeah. Ignorance is not bliss in this situation, guys. Well, before we take off, because you've had such great experience, because you travel the nation and visit practices or virtually work with practices, and we could not have predicted 2020 with a crystal ball at all, but we can learn from our past and our history. So if you were looking down the road of the future, are there any couple standouts that you think that are things that will be coming for our industry or that we can prepare for?
I feel that from a training platform perspective, right, for practices that are truly invested to 10x their business or improve their infrastructure or improve their team, or I'll just say they're in it to win it, right? A lot of people get in this space and they think it's as easy as, you know, renting a space and you get some equipment and people will come, or, you know, you're doing surgery a couple days a week, but the other days aren't busy. We can't function like that. That's not, we will not sustain, we will not be profitable. So we have to make smart decisions and hard decisions. So I think that the industry, I foresee moving to probably more of an online training platform, where even for me as a company, and I can't really share a lot, but we are making some pretty big changes in terms of my opportunities to have the ability over the last 10 years working with practices, but now taking the knowledge, taking what I hear clients want and need, and turning it into an online platform that can be repeatable, that can be sustainable, you know, in an area of all the functions that they need, where it can be an evergreen platform. So I think that would be my biggest takeaway, is that as people grow, as they onboard, we can't go, to your point, one time and learn and come back and hope we're going to execute the plan. It fails every time. So how can we take what we know and give it to our staff, give it to our team with accountability metrics and measures to ensure, right, that we move the needle forward, but that everybody's beating to the same drum as a company, not doing their own thing.
Right. I love that. We will be using more technology, and that's a good thing, not to fear, embrace it and be prepared for it. So Terri, before we say goodbye, for those who want to kind of learn more about you or connect with you prior to GVAS, what are the best ways to do that?
Absolutely. My personal email is terri@terriross.com. And you can find more information or schedule a call with myself or one of members of my team at terrirossconsulting.com. So thank you, Alisha, so much. This was such a wonderful opportunity. So lovely to see your amazing face.
You as well. Thank you, Terri, for being with us, giving us the sneak peek, and personally love seeing you. You look amazing and you are an inspiration, and I'm glad that our paths crossed all those years ago. So everybody, until next time, and we'll see you at GVAS. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.